way to follow things and interact here is to join HAPS. As you can see, it's rather getting dark now, hence the unhelpful and unflattering torchlight I'm using. But I just popped out in the garden to see if there are any bats about as part of the 30 Days Wild set of broadcasts I'm doing. So 30 Days Wild, for those who haven't heard this before, is a little initiative run by the wildlife trusts here in the United Kingdom, and it encourages people to go out once a day and do what it calls random acts of wildness. Go and try and have some interaction with the natural world around you in every day of June. And this is the first time I've actually crossed the threshold of my house since yesterday. I thought I'd just pop out in the garden and see if there are any bats flying about up there in the sky. And the way we do that is we try and detect their ultrasound. So I'm going to show you how we do that at the moment. So what I've got over here, let me turn the camera around. I've got over here is my iPad, which I will open up. And with the iPad, I've got this little bag down here. And in that is a device produced by a company called Wildlife Acoustics, which is essentially a plug-in ultrasonic microphone. You plug this into your device and it's listening to the ultrasound. We'll talk about ultrasound in a moment. I'll just set it up whilst we're talking. So that's plugged in now. It notices it's there, asks for permission to use it, and fires up the program. Oops. So what this is now doing is it's listening on that microphone. I've just started it recording. And it is seeing if it can hear any high-pitched sounds which might be bats calling. Bats, as I suspect most people know, tend to fly at night, and one of the ways they perceive the world, they see the world, is that they put out these high-pitched calls. And then they can hear the echoes bouncing back, a bit like sonar, well, exactly like sonar really, because that's what it is. And that's how they perceive the world. But one of the ways we therefore can see if bats are about is we can sort of eavesdrop on that with devices like this. So we put the microphone in and it will start listening to the sky, or listening to see if any bats are flying around. And if there are any, it'll draw a picture of the sound they're making on here, it'll record it for me, and that will let me know what they're there. Now, because we're doing real natural history, as it were, because we've gone out, there's no guarantee that the wildlife will perform. So there's no guarantee we will detect any bats, but it's a warm enough night. One would hope there'd be some about. So we'll give this a few minutes, we'll sit and watch this, and we will see if any bats are detected on this detector. So I'm just going to put this down so my arms aren't aching. And then we can just wait and see what happens. Well, nothing's showing up so far. You can see where the detector is picking stuff up. Traffic going past, for instance. It's trying to analyse it to see if it thinks it's a bat, matching the pattern, but not finding any, so not telling me it's seen anything. I should do. Turn the volume up slightly so if something does fly by, we can hopefully hear it as well. So whilst this is going, I'm just going to have a quick look, just to demonstrate the sort of thing we should be getting. Let me just briefly stop the current recording to demonstrate what we're getting. So the other thing this device does is it records the bats that were there. So you can analyse the sound in the future. Why isn't that making any sound? Turn that volume way up and try again. So you might just be able to hear that. That's the sort of noise it would make if we were detecting any bats. That was a common pipistrelle. It's a fairly common species. Let's just start it recording. Very slightly turn the volume down. We're not having a lot of success, are we? But what we're doing, just running, I'll illuminate briefly, running this bat detector plugged into my iPod here, and that's listening into the ultrasound frequencies and seeing if we can hear any bats flying about in the night around us. It's part of just a fairly casual monitoring of bats. It's not something I do with any great seriousness, but it can be interesting just to discover that there are things flying around unseen at night out here over my garden. So we'll give it a minute or so more, see if there's any more, and then I'll probably end the broadcast if nothing's really showing up. And it looks like there probably are bats about, but not many of them, and not very near where I am, so they're not being picked up. So I'm probably going to end this broadcast here. What I'll do is I'll end just to demonstrate the point by playing another recording from a previous occasion. Just to demonstrate what it would sound like if it was working. So that would be common pipistrelle. It's a fairly common bat. Can't see any of their calls now. So what we'll do is we'll just end there, having seen, not actually encountered any bats tonight, but at least demonstrated the idea. And again, I'll try to be on doing something every day for 30 Days Wild. And who knows, next time, things we're looking for might actually show up.